The annual taxpayer slaughter climate summit, known as COP28, just ended. And inventor of the internet and noted climate gadfly Al Gore is furious. This year was more entertaining than most since it was held in fossil fuel utopia, Dubai, with conference host Sultan Al Jaber giving a speech how ending fossil fuels would put humanity, quote, back into caves, adding that there is, quote, no science to support the need to restrict fossil fuels. This is all, of course, true. Cheap energy is how the rich countries got rich in the first place, and without it, they would become poor countries. Meanwhile, recent data from the EPA itself found that there has been literally zero warming in 81% of weather stations since 1948. Many of those that did show warming were artifacts of location. So a field got turned into a parking lot, and presto, the temperature went up. Even so, more stations actually showed a decline in temperature since 1948, so 329 stations, compared to those that showed an increase of just 203 stations. Another recent study says that plants actually, it turns out, absorb 20% more carbon than thought. That is a comically huge difference given 100-year climate models, suggesting that so-called climate experts actually have no idea what they're doing. They are pulling it out of their hats. In other words, forget global warming. We need to start either talking about the falling temperatures and carbon-hogging plants, or, more likely, we need to talk about how utterly useless both the data and the climate models themselves are. Perhaps someday they will figure it out, but at the moment, we don't actually have any credible climate data. It is paid-off professors writing marketing copy. Still, sane or no, the Sultan's comments were apparently not something you are supposed to say at COP28. The UN Secretary General characterized them as, quote, incredibly concerning, mostly because the United Nations is a control-seeking communist organization who, oddly enough, is funded by the US government, which is not supposed to be communist. Despite the Sultan's fleeting moment of sanity, the rest of COP rolled out pretty much how you'd expect. A promise to, quote, phase out fossil fuels by the rich countries so China and India can replace them fivefold with coal and use it to gut our manufacturing base that, after all, is not staffed by New York Times journalists. The goal, again courtesy of the UN Secretary General, is, quote, not to reduce, not to abate, but to phase out. As in, you will have no heat, you may have no cooked food, but you will be happy. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained. I've mentioned in recent videos the eye-bleeding crony trillions that the climate industrial complex has at its disposal, an amount that is growing very fast. They will continue deploying that money to frog march you into the cave-dwelling utopia until taxpayers cut them off. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.